Hey everyone, welcome back to another deep dive. Today we're going to be taking a look at this interesting YouTube video that one of you sent in. It's all about e-commerce and how to really make it work for you.
Oh, yeah, I saw this one. The secret to earning 700 TL in 7 days, Amazon or eBay.
That's the one. So this guy, Akan Yilmaz, he claims to have like a whole system figured out, right? And he's sharing some of his insights.
700 TL in a week? That's a pretty bold claim.
Yeah, no kidding. Especially if you're trying to build, that passive income stream everybody's after these days.
hmm
But before we jump to any conclusions, let's back up a bit. Who is this Akan Yilmaz anyway?
Well, he's basically presenting himself as an e-commerce mentor, or a guru, if you will. He says he's figured out how to be successful on eBay, Amazon, all the big platforms.
And he's got a pretty big following too, right? Like over 140,000 subscribers on YouTube alone.
Yeah, that's a lot of people looking to him for advice. But of course, a big audience doesn't necessarily mean he's the real deal. We need to dig a little deeper.
Exactly. So let's look at this video we're talking about. It's called The Secret to Quick Earnings. But honestly, it's not really about getting rich quick. It's more about building a long-term system that can kind of run on autopilot.
And he's offering this free PDF guide that supposedly lays out the whole system. Did you get a chance to look through it?
I did. It's actually pretty comprehensive. He covers a ton of stuff, like choosing the right platform, whether it's eBay, Amazon, Etsy, whatever. And then he gets into setting up your listings, managing inventory, even using AI tools.
AI. That's got to be a big part of e-commerce these days.
Absolutely. He has a whole section on it. He talks about using AI for things like customer service, like automating responses with ChatGPT. Pretty
Yeah.
clever stuff.
Mm.
But he also gets into using AI for things like product research and figuring out the best prices, which is where things get really interesting.
Yeah, if you can use AI to find the right products and price them competitively, you're already way ahead of the game.
Right. And he doesn't stop there. He also recommends a bunch of different software tools for like managing phone numbers, streamlining shipping,
Mm-hmm.
all sorts of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He even includes lists of wholesale suppliers and templates for customer service scripts.
Wow, it's like a whole e-commerce toolkit. He's not just giving you the theory, he's giving you the tools to actually put it into practice.
Exactly. And that brings us to what he calls the automated e-commerce machine. He's basically saying you can set up a system that'll run 24/7 generating sales even while you sleep.
Okay, now that's the dream, isn't it? Passive income while you're off doing other things, but is that even realistic?
Well, he claims it is. He says he personally manages something like 300 to 500 accounts, some of them making thousands of dollars a month.
300 to 500 accounts. That's insane. How do you even manage that many even with automation?
Right. It's a lot to keep track of. But he seems to have a system for everything. He talks about using algorithm optimization to make sure his listings are seen by the right people. And he also emphasizes selling on all of eBay's global platforms to maximize reach.
So he's going global right from the start. Smart move, especially in today's market.
Yeah. And he's pretty upfront about the fact that building this system does require some upfront investment. He mentions around £1,000 to cover things like product costs, software, and other setup expenses.
So it's not some get-rich-quick scheme. There's actual work and money involved.
Exactly. But he does offer some pretty convincing evidence to back up his claims. He shows real-time sales data from his own stores with daily earnings ranging from, tens of pounds to thousands of pounds.
Data's always good. It at least suggests transparency.
Yeah.
Lets us see if his system actually has potential. What kind of trends are you seeing in the data?
Well, it definitely fluctuates. Some days are better than others. But the overall trend seems to be upward. And he also highlights his customer feedback, which is consistently positive.
Okay, let's dig into that customer feedback a little more. That could be a key indicator of whether this is a sustainable system long term.
Yeah, he's got a 4.4 out of 5-star rating on eBay from over 100,000 reviews. That's pretty impressive. It is. It seems like he's not just pushing products out there. He's actually trying to build a loyal customer base, which is really important in the long run.
Definitely. But here's a thought. Is this eBay system the only thing he does?
Well, that's what I thought at first. But he actually claims that his principles can be applied to all sorts of online businesses, not just eBay.
Oh, really? Like what?
He mentions dropshipping, wholesale, Facebook Marketplace, Shopify, even Amazon FBA.
Wow, so he's saying he has a blueprint for success across the entire e-commerce world.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And he even touches on things like affiliate marketing and YouTube automation, which are kind of different from selling physical products.
Interesting. So he's not just focused on one specific niche. He's looking at the bigger picture of how to make money online.
Right. But with so many different strategies, how does he actually help people implement them?
That's where his mentorship program comes in, I guess.
Yeah, from what I understand, it's not just about giving you information. It's about actually providing support and guidance.
He actually says that he and his team will manage and optimize your e-commerce store for you.
I know. That seems like a lot. How much can they really do for each person?
Right. It's like having a whole team of e-commerce experts working for you. But it also makes you wonder, are you really learning anything if they're doing everything?
That's a good point. There's got to be a balance between getting support and actually learning how to do it yourself.
Absolutely. So what about the cost?
He says the mentorship program requires a pretty significant financial commitment, and you're not even guaranteed to get in. He reviews each application to make sure it's a good fit.
I wonder what his criteria are. Is it just about money, or is he looking for something else?
He's also very clear that there are no guarantees of success.
Right.
He says results depend on things like market conditions, how much effort you put in, and the state of your e-commerce store when you start.
It's good that he's upfront about that, but it also begs the question, if success isn't guaranteed, what are people actually paying for?
Well, I think the value is in his expertise. His system has been proven to work, and he's offering personalized support, which is pretty rare.
True, but it's still a gamble. Anyone thinking about this program really needs to weigh the potential rewards against the risks.
He encourages people to download the free PDF guide first to get a better sense of his approach before making any decisions.
That's smart. It lets people try before they buy, so to speak.
And if you're serious about the mentorship program, he offers free consultations to talk about eligibility and answer any questions.
That's a good opportunity to connect with him or his team and see if it's a good fit.
Exactly. It's a two-way street.
Yeah.
But let's shift gears for a second. We've talked a lot about his system and the data and the mentorship program. But what about Akın Yılmaz himself? Who is this guy?
Good question. He doesn't really talk about his background in the video, but he does seem genuinely passionate about e-commerce and helping others succeed.
Yeah, I got that sense too. He has this energy like he really believes in what he's doing.
And he's not afraid to show his flaws. He talks about mistakes he's made and lessons he's learned.
Which I think is important. It makes him more relatable. You know, success isn't always a straight line.
Definitely. It reinforces the idea that he's not just selling a system, he's sharing his journey.
But is it all too good to be true? That's the question we need to keep asking.
It's easy to get caught up in the excitement, especially when you see those sales figures and hear those testimonials.
So where should our skepticism be directed? What are some red flags to look out for?
Well, for one, the heavy reliance on AI could be a problem.
You mean like what works today might not work tomorrow?
Exactly. Algorithms change all the time. And if you don't really understand the market, you could be in trouble.
So you need more than just algorithms. You need actual knowledge.
Right. Another concern is how much people rely on Akın Yılmaz and his team, especially in the mentorship program.
It's like putting all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah. And while the hands-on approach is appealing, you might not be developing the skills to run your business on your own.
So if you ever leave the program, you could be lost.
That's a risk to consider. And then there's the issue of scalability. He says he manages hundreds of accounts. How much attention can he really give to each person?
Good point. As the program grows, will the quality of support go down?
Maybe. And let's not forget about the risks of e-commerce in general. Things like market changes, competition platform updates, those can all affect your success no matter how good your system is.
It's tempting to just buy into the whole thing, you know?
Hmm.
Especially when you see those numbers and hear people saying they're making bank.
Yeah, the passive income dream is a powerful one,
Hmm.
but you gotta stay grounded.
So what are some things to be wary of? Like, what are some red flags?
Well, the whole AI thing is a bit of a wild card.
Like, it might not always work.
Exactly. Algorithms are always changing. What works now might be useless tomorrow.
So if you're just relying on algorithms and you don't really get the market, you could be in trouble.
Exactly. And another thing is how much you're depending on Akın Yılmaz and his team, especially in that mentorship program.
It's risky, right? Like
Yeah.
putting all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah, and even though they're hands-on, you might not be learning the skills you need to run things yourself.
So if you ever leave the program, you're kind of stuck.
Right. And then there's the question of how much he can actually do. He says he manages hundreds of accounts. How much individual attention can he really give?
That's true. As the program grows, the quality might suffer.
It's possible. And let's not forget about the risks that come with e-commerce in general. You know, market shifts, competition platform changes, all that stuff can affect you no matter how good your system is.
So what's the verdict? Is this guy legit or is it all hype?
I think it's probably somewhere in between. He's definitely built a successful business and helped some people, but
Hmm.
it's not a guaranteed path to riches.
You still need to put in the work and be willing to learn and adapt.
And it's important to be critical, you know? Understand the good and the bad. Don't just get sucked in by the promise of easy money.
So what's the takeaway for our listeners?
Well, it's up to each person to decide if this is right for them.
We've laid out the info, the questions, the things to think about.
Now it's your turn to dig deeper. Do your research and figure out what's best for you.
That's what the deep dive is all about. We're not here to tell you what to think. We just want to give you the tools to make your own decisions.
So keep learning, keep asking questions, and take control of your journey.
And that's a wrap on this deep dive. Thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you next time for another fascinating topic. Until then, happy selling.